My name is Brian Fitzsimmons. I'm the CEO of Fitz Fish Ponds. I run a company where we build, service, maintain koi ponds, and sell koi fish. When I was 12, I decided I should build a pond in my parents' backyard, and it started by just digging a hole, going to the local garden center, and buying some fish and some products. So the business started my junior year of high school, so 2008. I worked at this garden center when I was like 13, 14, 15, and somebody asked me to build them a koi pond. And my mom drove me there in her car, and I built the pond by myself the first time. So koi are basically carp. They're carp from Japan that have been bred for generations after generations that have beautiful colors and patterns, and now they're known as koi fish. I think the first koi was bred about 250, 300 years ago, however many generations that is, a long time. Koi bring a sense of like peace and serenity, and some cultures say good luck. What it really translates to is like living jewels and like living art. I kind of compare it to the quality and the consistency of like the bloodlines and the patterns of fish, and what it takes and how many fish have to be sold and created to get one fish to be of that size and that quality. And it's easy to compare and show customers that when you take like a solid colored koi, doesn't matter how big that fish ever gets, a solid colored fish is only gonna be worth so much because it's easier to breed. But once you get into patterns and different varieties, that is one off. And it's not only the fish has to have a perfect body shape and like balanced pattern, it has to be straight. I mean, just to get a fish over 3 feet with a good pattern and everything to be healthy about it, it's a lot of work on these breeders, and it takes, 7, 8 years, and in year 5, the fish could lose one scale and it just devalues the fish completely. Living art to me is just like having a group of koi in your pond, and together that composes like this giant art piece of fish. And each fish in its own makes up a piece of the painting or the canvas. I think they're very beautiful and they're desirable on their own, and then you put them together and it really completes a beautiful collection for customers. Some of the most expensive fish are in the low 6 figures, $200,000-$300,000 for one single koi. And that's the kind of fish that could win a koi show or just is so a one of one. And that, most of these koi at that level is just, it's only one available in that size or for that koi show. And it's a world market where the Japanese are selling. So as the hobby gets stronger in all the markets, the price of the koi gets higher. Always in the past, the Chinese market has been very high, Indonesia has been very high, and now the American market's building up as well. So when you have these global people fighting, maybe there's 10 people fighting for this one koi, the breeders know that, and then they start to push the pricing up to get these koi as high as they can go. And the Japanese are still very into auctions. So a lot of these koi at young ages go into the auction. Just 2 weeks ago, at one auction, a fish sold for almost 50 million yen. And that translates to about $350,000 for a 1-year-old fish, about 50 centimeters. That is crazy to me, and it's just the people fighting for this one fish to be bid, and that fish has the potential to be something that could be worth a lot more. And that same breeder previously at an auction years ago sold a fish for $1.8 million. It's really cool to see how much these fish go for, and the global demand for such a unique product. And I think that just talks true to the Japanese culture and how they do things with whiskey, with beef, sushi. Everything is small batches, super high quality, and it's the same with koi. So there's multiple ends to the hobby. We sell fish in our stores for $30 to $40 that are this big, and they still have nice patterns. They're still great. You can put them in a backyard pond. Our smallest pond starts at a few $1,000s, and it goes up from there. Most people start on the lower end of the hobby, and you can still have great fish. You can grow a small fish that you buy for a few $100s into a champion level koi. And the unique thing about our company here is we'll get you from the beginning, and we can take you all the way to the highest end. A lot of companies in this space focus just on the high end and don't have the low end, but we've had customers that we built that $8,000 pond for, and then in 10 years they love it, and we're rebuilding that pond into a $100,000 pond with the big expensive fish. So it's great to see how people progress in the hobby, And I myself started as just a person that wanted a small pond in their backyard. I think for everyone it's different. So it's like going outside into your garden, if you're having that aquatic space, a waterfall, the sound of water, the aquatic plants. And I don't think it always starts with fish. It might say, I was at a hotel in Hawaii and I saw these fish and they raced over to me and I fed them and I loved it. Or, hey, when I was a kid, there was a park and I used to feed the fish there. So I think the koi ponds and the koi come so many different ways to people. And I think everyone has like their own story and how they get into the koi pond. Some of our most like addicted, passionate customers bought a house with a koi pond and never even wanted one. And then they turn out to like love it. We've had customers that won a goldfish at a fair and then they wanted a home for it and they went to Lowe's and bought a tub for $300-400. And next thing you know, they're putting in a $30,000 pond in their backyard. Every aspect comes a little differently. I always ask people how they got into it. It's always a great story to hear, and people share stories, especially at our events that we do. I think that's one of the big topics, like how did they call it like the water garden bug or the koi bug, how did it get you? It's basic biology, taking care of the water, like a fish tank, managing a nitrogen cycle. But having a larger body of water makes it easier. And as long as you have the right filtration and good advice on not overfeeding your fish, doing the proper like backwashes, and having a balanced ecosystem, the koi in the pond's fairly easy to take care of. Sometimes there's problems with fish health or stuff like that, but we have a support team here at FFP to help take care of those issues. And also there's plenty of books and literature on koi health as well. But keeping fish in a non-overstocked environment with good filtration, there's not usually many problems. Koi help balance the ecosystem of a pond. They also will eat mosquito larvae or any bugs that land on the surface. To me, have a pond without fish, you're crazy, but you can do it. Some people opt into a pondless feature then, where they just have like a waterfall in the garden, or they'll just stick with like goldfish and aquatic plants and not have to worry about it. If you didn't have fish, it'd be easier maintenance just to put chlorine in the water. Having fish in there, they create a balanced ecosystem just like you'd have in a pond or a lake where they produce waste, the waste is converted, and the nitrogen cycle helps keep a balanced ecosystem. In Indonesia and Bali particularly, and Japan, koi are good luck and koi are really lucky. Some people believe in that here. There's myths and legends with everything, but I've kept koi as a business for almost 20 years now, and it's brought me a good deal of luck, so I'd say they're fairly lucky. I think the most important thing about koi is just appreciating the work that it takes for the breeders to create them, especially in Japan, and the level of fish. For me, it's super easy to see which koi is better between A and B, but if you took a side-by-side photo or fish A and fish B and looked at them, and I pointed out a few things and key aspects of what makes a fish more desirable by the second set of pictures, untrained hobbyist or beginner who just likes feeding their koi at their local mall or restaurant that has a koi pond, can identify, oh, this koi is better because of this, or this koi is better because the pattern is balanced, or the body shape is uniform. Having these few tips help hobbyists along the way and beginners appreciate the husbandry and the work that it takes to create a fish like this. Being that it's like living art, you want a koi that, if it's a yellow fish, you want the whole fish to be yellow. We bowled up one earlier today in the greenhouse where the fish was almost a meter long and the whole fish was yellow, which doesn't seem that interesting, but many times growing a fish that size, a yellow fish will get black dots on it, or a scale will get damaged. But having a fish that's perfectly yellow and all the scales are done right, these are living things in the pond, so they could easily get damaged or have a blemish based on water chemistry changing. Even having like a red and white fish, you want the red and white to be very defined. If the red bleeds and runs into the white, that's what makes the fish less desirable. Or if the red and white fish has a few black dots on it, that becomes less desirable. It's not that it's a bad fish. The fish doesn't know what its color looks like, but it's nice to have a fish that just looks really good and is a great example of that variety of koi. The easiest comparison with koi that I tell people is like the koi farmers are kind of like wineries. I'm not a big wine drinker, but you can compare like some of the koi to lower class white wine where they're mass produced, they're still good, but it's the first 3 bottles of wine you drink that night It's like the barefoot, I guess, lower class wine. It's above the box wine. And then there's the higher end wine where the bottles are maybe $200, $300, $400, smaller batched, higher produced, and really looking at the quality. If you go through California and go wine tasting, it's very similar to that when you come on a koi buying trip in Japan, except we give you sake, so you buy more koi. But we're going around to different farms, meeting the breeders that have done this for multiple generations, looking and trying to buy the fish that they've worked on and produced for many years. And each farm and family produces a specific variety of koi.
As an independent team of filmmakers, we love producing documentaries for artisans of all trades, honoring skill, passion, and determination. So whether you're a garage baker, homegrown mycologist, backyard farmer, or off-grid homesteader, send us a message and share your story with the world.
I like the breeders themselves in Japan because I know how much work it takes to keep the koi healthy and in good condition. And the effort just from knowing these breeders for the past 10 years, the hobbyist doesn't get it yet. They're like, oh, but 2 years ago you had great Tancho Kajaku from this breeder. And I was like, yeah, but this year it wasn't a good spawn. And like to feel and understand for those breeders that like, this isn't a guarantee every year. It's a very stressful job for them. They're spawning fish year after year, and sometimes it doesn't happen correctly. You know, just like a winery, like the grapes could not produce that year, or a bird could come in and attack them. The fish can get a disease and get sick. I really appreciate the hard work. It's a labor of love for these guys. It's not like a 9-to-5 job. They're up 3, 4 in the morning and they're not stopping till 6, 7 at night some days, and they're working very hard. Even the most wealthiest sought after breeders, like the brand names that you can compare to like a Gucci or Louis Vuitton, the super high-end breeders, I'm very good friends with them, and these are guys that are making a ton of money, and it's, you know, they're involved in selecting every single fish on the final process. I run a business in America, and I'm all about like scaling, delegating, and building a team. What can I make a process for to create the growth? How can I run 9 locations across the US? And when I speak to the breeders about it, they're like, yeah, but I don't trust them to select the koi at this size because I can see it and they can't see it. This is my father taught me, and his father taught him, and they have to select it. So to know the breeders that spend hours leaning over a tub, selecting thousands of fish and sorting them and organizing them, and they know that fish from it was 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, knowing that whole process, those are the guys that I really appreciate and enjoy to spend time with, because they're running a business and they're selecting their crop to grow. I've been pushing for growth. I'm 33 now. I've had the company for almost 20 years. No one in this industry is doing what we're doing. We're the only multiple chain retail pond store that services different states in the country. We bring in the most fish out of anyone in the country. I just want to keep growing and pushing and doing things that haven't been done before, and growing a really nice hobby in the US and making it accessible to all levels of hobbyists. And I'm always pushing to be better and better at what we do and how we do things. We'll see how big we can get it. I mean, to say why push it, my question to myself is why not? I like working hard. I like to do things that haven't been done. I get bored very easily, so if I'm not like constantly growing and pushing the boundaries, I wouldn't feel like I'm fulfilling anything. I think if we can continue to grow this hobby and this business, it'd be really good for the industry and the breeders and myself as well. I could definitely just be fine and stay where I'm at and not grow anymore, the company, and make a good income. But I think it's fun to continue to grow. And also we have a really good team here. And to keep good people engaged in a job, I think they need growth. We've been able to recruit people from other companies and also buy out smaller companies because they don't have a growth plan. I always figured if you're not like growing, you're dying, so you might as well just keep growing. Maybe I'll slow down one day, but for now, I like to push the envelope and keep growing. Funny thing is, my assistant's behind you shaking her head at me because last year I opened my 4th location, and it was like I had issues with the township and legal things that I had to deal with for that building. And I was like, oh, I'm done. After this, I was like, we're gonna have 4 locations. But this past year, I ended up buying 6 different companies and I opened 4 more locations. So now we're at a total of 9. So it was a little crazy, and now everyone just laughs at me. When there's opportunity, I like to take advantage of it. It's hard not to when I feel like there's opportunity. And that's just maybe my ADD or my business sense. We don't know. It's a blend of both. There's a picture of me when I was 2 years old holding a bass in my hand. It was like my first fish, I guess. And I've always wanted a pond in my backyard from a young age, and I somehow convinced my parents to let me build one, and I liked it. And then when I found out you could buy koi and grow them and the uniqueness of them, I really gravitated towards it. I worked in some other industries in my early 20s, but this was something that I really liked, and I think it's a fun business. Like I like coming to work every day. As soon as I don't like coming to work every day, I'll just do something else. But for now, I really like this, and I think a lot of the team here has a really good approach to the job, and we're getting people that like it's been their dream to work at a fish place or have a good career, and to be able to offer that in a fun, creative work environment, I think it's a great thing. And we still have a real business to run, even though it's fish, and we have real business problems that we deal with every single day. But most of the time, we're working on a 100-acre farm or in a retail store selling koi and ponds, or creating a nice place for people to enjoy their backyard and connect to, really enjoy that, or we're out there fixing a problem for someone. Our service department is very busy every single day fixing problems for customers. Primarily, we focus on retail. Then we have a construction division, service, koi sales, and then we have a wholesale division where we actually support other retail stores and pond contractors selling to them as well. For me, it feels like work. It is fairly relaxing. The best time on the farm for me is at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night when everyone's gone and I'm just doing like my nightly walkthrough. I'm just checking on things. Maybe I'll throw some food in there, but that's fairly relaxing. And sometimes like I'll leave my house at 9 and I don't get back in there till 11. And that's like a nice way that I can enjoy it. But during the day, it's stressful because I have a lot of money in inventory up there. There's over a couple $1 million of koi on the farm. It is stressful at times, but it's nice to be up there and enjoy them later in the evening when no one's around. We have people watching the fish at least 12 to 13 hours a day. We have multiple staff that has a staggered schedule, and we're here 7 days a week. The fish have to be checked on Christmas, New Year's, holidays, it doesn't matter. Christmas Day, New Year's Day, you name the holiday, the fish aren't taking a break. And I think that's the same connection that I have with the breeders when they know the scale of our operation here, is that same level of consistency that you have to have when keeping this many fish alive and healthy. My favorite part is growing the business. The opportunity to like do something that hasn't been done before. I do enjoy going to Japan as well, to spend some time over there. I never thought it could be as big as it is. And then I think about 7 years ago, 8 years ago, I was at this conference, and there's only like 20 of us there. And I was my middle 20s, I guess, later 20s. There was all these people, and they had like one store, one construction division, one service division, and these guys are in their 50s. And when I was in my early 20s, I worked for a financial company, planning for retirement. And I realized at a really, really young age that so many people in their 50s and 60s never thought about an exit strategy of their business. It was me that was very interesting. I was like, well, you worked your whole life and you never thought about this? So when I worked in the financial planning aspect, while I had this business for a couple of years, I saw the opportunity of meeting these people that never planned for an exit strategy, where I was like, well, maybe I could offer them an exit plan to their companies that they never thought they had. And that's how we've been able to really grow these past couple of years, is by acquiring these companies that haven't planned for that. Learning that at a young age in the business made me realize that I didn't want to just build a job for myself, I wanted to build a company. And it's two very different things that people realize at different stages of their entrepreneur or business lifestyle. You know, a lot of people, this entrepreneur thing is like, people think, oh, it's a cool thing now. It's not. It's very hard work. It's not built for everybody. I'm lucky that I'm decent at it. It's not something that you can just say, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur. It's late nights, it's early mornings, it's sleepless nights. When you start, it's hard, and then when you grow it, it's harder. And then when you have a team of 90 people, it's even harder. It's not something that comes easy or you can take lightly. You're working 24/7. I never knew the business would get to what it is today, so I just want to keep growing it and see where we can take it. One thing that I think is unique to us is that we run this thing called Koi Fest. This was just an idea that me and a few people on the team 3 years ago, we had a whole bunch of extra fish and we're like, let's call this event Koi Fest. We had no idea what to expect and we put on this event and all of a sudden 1,000 people showed up on the farm and we're like, whoa, okay, this is real. So we're in our 4th year now. Last year we had about 3,000 people come. We're hopeful this year it's gonna be even bigger. We have koi influencers from the aquatics area. People come from all over the world, Japan, Netherlands, England. I think someone from Dubai is coming this year. It's crazy. And it's like the one place where all these koi hobbyists and koi people can gather and see what we're all about and what we do. The event is crazy. I never thought it would get to where it is. And every year at this event, I give away like 20 free koi from all different sizes. I give a free trip to Japan. It's a giveaway. We're not allowed to do raffles in the state of New Jersey. I find these laws out, so it's a free giveaway. We give away a trip just for coming. You get entered into this giveaway to win a free trip to Japan. This past year, we brought 2 people to Japan for completely free. It's great to give these people that kind of experience, and people win fish they never thought they could afford, and it's a great event. We have music, hot air balloons, and a whole bunch of koi that are for sale. It's really exciting and one of my favorite things to put on every year. And we host a koi show at Koi Fest. So we have judges come in and there's a whole koi show, awards banquet, and people to show their koi. And for us, that aspect is very important because it takes the customer buying the $30 fish this big and lets them see the 3-foot monster koi that are on display being judged. And most people on the beginning stage of the hobby never heard about this side. So we're bringing both together and letting know the people that there's both sides to the hobby and that there's a way to connect on it. If you're a complete beginner to fish keeping or having a pond, I'd say the best thing to do is go to your local pond place, watch YouTube videos, or call us, and we'll be happy to explain the pros and cons of having a koi pond or a water feature in your backyard and the joy that it could bring you. Some people say koi ponds are cheaper than therapy. I've been around koi since I was like 12, 13 years old. It's pretty addictive and it's very relaxing to me to just sit out by the waterfall. Like even now sitting here, I hear the waterfall behind me and it's just a nice soothing sound, and water is very relaxing to be around. If you're not sure if you want a koi pond, visit a place that has one, feed the fish, and see what you think about it. Having a koi pond brings you outside, it gets you off your phone, and it gets you in with nature, feeding the fish and enjoying the outdoors. And just to be able to have that connection with your backyard is really awesome. My hope really for the future is to give people that haven't thought about exit plans with their smaller water garden pond construction business a way to retire comfortably, where then I can continue their legacy of their smaller pond garden center, and then also be able to build a strong brand with reliable service that takes care of the customers. So many times I hear about bad contractors, or so much of our work is just fixing other ponds that people have built. So being able to just take care of the customers in a nice way and make sure they're enjoying the hobby the best. The worst thing we hear is when customers had bad experiences with their pond, and be able to fix that for them and be a resource is what we really want to do, and in turn just grow the hobby and have the biggest pond chain in the US. I feel really proud of what we've accomplished so far as a team. I think it brings like really great strength to see like what a team can do with like everyone working together towards a common goal. You know, some of the employees have been here over 10 years, so it's really good to see that we're creating a good culture and environment for growth and people to be happy at work. So many times I hear stories of people not liking their job or not happy with what they're doing. So to be able to have like a platform and a place to people to grow and have a career, it makes me very proud. Also, 3 years ago, my sister Lauren joined the company. She had her second kid. She was a school teacher, so the hours were not flexible. So it just started out like her doing some content writing for the company and some email marketing. And now she's the VP of the company. While my ADD entrepreneur brain is just buying things and growing things, she really helps with the structure and organization. So to be able to work with her is really awesome.
Hire us to tell your story. As an independent team of filmmakers, we love producing documentaries for artisans of all trades, honoring skill, passion, and determination.
The fruits of our labor literally creates happiness.
Founded in 2020, we harness our collective experience and enthusiasm for storytelling to deliver content that resonates with viewers on every level.
Think big and think outside of the box.
We avoid the constant noise of clickbait news and outrage headlines, instead crafting more intimate narratives that touch on the purpose of life itself. Stories that not only inform but also inspire, whether it's the art of agriculture, the science of fermentation, an innovative garage startup, or the intricacies of off-grid living. We're here to explore it all and invite you to join us in the discovery.
You're just working with what you have at hand instead of having unrealistic expectations.
We know the world is brimming with hidden stories waiting to be told. These are tales of ordinary people doing extraordinary things.
The biggest thing is to realize that there's nothing that you can't do.
Embodying the American spirit that with hard work, dreams really can come true. So whether you're a garage baker, homegrown mycologist, backyard farmer, or off-grid homesteader, send us a message and share your story with the world.